This is the Sports Lounge. Welcome to the home of the Sports Lounge.
Welcome to our YouTube channel.
Welcome to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to like, leave a comment, and subscribe.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. So click on the subscribe button and let's stay updated with all the happenings, all the interesting conversations in the world of sports.
Welcome to yet another episode of the Sports Lounge. It's Saturday and it's me, your host, your captain, taking you through the turbulent world of sports. And as usual, I have two co-pilots with me. My usual co-pilot on my left, Ife Dotun, is here once again. And on the right, I have someone new, per se, because it's been a while since he's been here with us. Arabala is glad to have you back on the show.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be here. I had been avoiding the show because of what my football club had been doing to me for the past 2-3 months. But some of my enemies also fought that. So I'm here to, is it called peace on their grave or to rejoice at their fall.
Demise.
Yeah.
Before
Exactly.
we get into your joyous celebrations, Ifedatun, I'm glad to be back again.
Always a good platform to cover talk sports after the weekend. Plenty of things always happen during the week. We'll have football, we'll have basketball, we'll have tennis. And at the end of the week, it's always good to come and talk about the main touching points and all of that. And that's why we're here, isn't it?
Always good to touch base, my brother. Always good to touch base. Let's start with during the course of the week, we had 3 new champions, and let's start with the one making Arabella the most joyous. Tottenham won the Europa League over Manchester United. I'm surprised they're actually happy about it. You are now the 4th best club, European-wise, in London.
I'm in Lagos. I don't care about London. I'm currently in Lagos.
I couldn't understand it last year when Arsenal fans were saying United fans are supporting City to win. I was like,
What the hell?
I don't in Lagos.
In my office, I'm surrounded by my United
I don't do
fans.
anything.
I don't care about sports.
Yeah, okay.
Besides, you said champions. What are they champions of?
Europa League.
It's a second-tier trophy, so it's not like it's the Champions League.
It's a European trophy.
Come on, let's be serious.
It's
like calling Leeds champions of England.
You had a 2-year head start over other London clubs getting to European final. You still not winning.
No, I've won a European final. It's defunct now, but it's still there. The Cup Winners' Cup.
That was before we were born, my bro. Interesting. But let's get right into it. Tottenham over Manchester United. Did you see the match turning out that way?
About 80%, yes. The game was, especially the first half, it was pretty poor. It showcased the fact that the two teams are bottom 5 in the. As far as they are concerned now, they are the 2 worst teams in the Premier League because the 3 relegated teams are relegated. They are out of the Premier League. So these are the 2 worst teams in the Premier League, and especially the first half showcased it. Tottenham got a goal that actually, the goal was also a symptom of the game, really. It was a bad goal. I couldn't even see who got the last touch in that goal. Onana was flying over the place. Shaw, the ball ricocheted off Shaw. I'm not even sure Brennan Johnson got the last touch. In the second half, mine stepped up a bit. Tottenham didn't have anything to play for again, in addition to all their injuries. And it was up to Manchester United to put pressure and find the goal. It couldn't come. They only created a couple of chances, including the very, very, very brilliant goal line clearance by Van der Ven. Yeah. So honestly, I expected it to go that way. I've been telling people before the game, Man United had not beaten Tottenham in about 2 years. Winning is a habit. Even though Tottenham too had not won a Premier League, a league game in a while, Man United had also not won a league game in a while. So you can't really expect, a switch to come up. You would now expect to win, even though they had been doing it in the stages leading up to the final. But given the history between the 2 clubs, the only thing going for Man U was the history of Manchester United before that game. Man United have Bruno Fernandes, Casemiro, people who have experience at a very high level of European football. But, it didn't come to the fore that day. There were some tactical, I don't know if you call it errors. I read some things about Ahmad being isolated somewhat. Ahmad, who is supposed to be Manchester United's most dangerous player, he only showed flashes. The subs were late for Manchester. As far as I'm concerned, the subs were late. And Tottenham, I'm happy for them. I'm happy for them. They held on and they got the victory. And best of all, we got another quote from Ange yesterday.
Season 3 is always better than season 2.
After the first quote about winning things in the second season. To be honest, the quotes, we finished 17th. It's going to finish 17th. Obviously, there's nothing except it's getting relegated next season. It's going to be better than this season anyway. So
He can finish 17th again. But before we go, before we leave Tottenham, Fedorton, last week you said winning and gaining momentum is a tactic. Do you think that backfired for Amorim among a bunch of other mistakes? What do you think Amorim got wrong exactly about that final?
So first is first, both teams went to that final with no momentum whatsoever. Let's start from there. So in the last 5 Premier League games, both of them are bottom 5. In the last 5, both of them are bottom 3. In the last 10, both of them are bottom 5. In the last 15, both of them are bottom 5 as well. So both of them have not even picked up points. I think combined they have 2 wins in 10 or something like that. Terrible record. So it wasn't even about the momentum in the final. It was more of all of them putting their eggs in. Both teams putting their eggs in one basket. Unfortunately, someone's basket fell. Someone's basket fell. But I feel like it boils down to consequences of failing to plan long term, right? We've spoken about this multiple times. If we start talking about United, we're probably going to sleep here. But the brief summary is a lot of decisions have been made late, and it has come to the point where you just have to take things whatever way they come. If you make actions or inactions, always have consequences. I feel like coming into the Premier League this season, a lot of people had the opinion that United should have started the Premier League season with a new manager. Right, the board or the stakeholders decided to go in with the new manager, and after I think 11 games, they called it quits. Fresh start. Now, when you want to hire a new manager, you have to put a lot of things into consideration: the state of your squad in terms of the profiles you have versus what the manager does or what the manager can do, and all that. So there was a mismatch from the beginning. Mismatch being that Ruben Amorim had played a 3-4-3 or 3 Scara. The United squad is mainly primed for it 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3, whatever variation of that you want to call it. So from day one, it was a bit of, shall I say, round pegs and square holes, and they tried to make the best out of it at least till maybe January, February, and immediately after the Sociedad game, in my opinion, the down tools in the league. Now, does it make it right? I don't think so. Is there an excuse for it? I don't think so, but in the real sense of it, that's what happened. You look at reactions after certain defeats in the league, and it's more of, we just did cardio, we didn't really come here to win. No emotion, no whatever. Even the games where they managed to get positive results, no real celebrations, no real anything. You get. Meanwhile, in the Europa League, when you're 0-0, you see the fans, everybody's staring the team on and all of that. So it just looked like they were trying to sneak into the Champions League with the Europa League. And one of the main symptoms of the better form between November and February was the fact that United was playing 1 game a week or the same schedule with everybody in the league. So we're all on the same physical levels and all of that. But the second European football got introduced back, it became, you have extra 3 days on your legs. The squad is a bit thin, right? And players were dropping here and there and all of that. So in my opinion, I'll just say United lost like a very big silver lining. The silver lining being that going into the Champions League, I mean, we also did 16 in the Champions League. A lot of people were embarrassed in the Champions League this season. A lot of big teams were embarrassed in Champions League season. You watch the quality of the games from the quarterfinal onwards, and you start wondering, United play this type of football. So if I was Ruben Amorim and I'd qualified for the Champions League, I'd have gone straight to the board and asked them that, see, we've made a little money by making it to the group stage. We have to level up. We have to do this. We have to do that. This is who we're going to play against, and we'll still have the league that we have to contend in. We finish 16th, or we're going to finish 16th, maybe even 17th, who knows, right? It can't get worse than this. We must do better. But now, there is no trophy, there is no Champions League,
there's no money.
Yeah, there's no money and all of that. I, for one, I have a theory. Americans are involved in this sport. Wall Street guys always find a way to raise money. Leave that one by the side. They'll pay a couple of fines for breaches. Yeah, that one is their problem. Do you understand? But that is my main takeaway from this final. It's like the silver lining for the season is gone. I mean, I saw his post-match conference and he said, "I'll have loved to win that." Then now there's nothing I can show to the fans to say we can do this next season, we can do this next season, and all of that. So it's rather sad, but again, you cannot say it's unexpected. There are too many things that led to this point.
This truly is rock bottom for Manchester United.
It is what it is at the end of the day.
Let's hope the club doesn't sink.
Well, I'm not hoping. I'm not hoping.
So remember when we started the relegation talk? I think that was like December and all of that. And my honest view then, I studied everywhere that talk football and all of that is, it's not like it's not impossible. The saving grace is that there are 3 worst teams in the league. Now you look at Leeds, Burnley,
and then Sheffield or Southampton.
and Sheffield or Sunderland.
Sunderland, yeah,
Sheffield or Sunderland. And you're like, okay, I think I Premier League said this. This is for one more season.
Once again. But before, let's not dar the mood too much. Let's go back to champions. We have 2 other champions that we have not given congratulations to yet. Crystal Palace winning the FA Cup over Manchester City, and Antonio Conte doing what Antonio Conte does, rescuing a team not playing once a week. Pardon me, rescuing a team playing once a week, taking them to league winners. I saw a quote during the week by Glasner, one that he made in his last loss to Manchester City. If you play me like this again, I will beat you. And he came around and
talk is sweet when results go your way. Mamouche scores that penalty, will not be hearing all these things. But I feel like that's the whole essence of, like, when you play somebody multiple times, you kind of see what it...
Unlike
it's the same way. It's the same way... No, we'll get to that. So it's the same way that people always say, whenever somebody comes to the league, does something special, after a period of time, they're found out. It's not like nothing special happened. It's just you've seen it firsthand, so you kind of know how to plan for it. Yeah, when I saw the lineup of the FA Cup final, I started to feel like that Pep is crazy.
The midfield, especially.
It wasn't even the midfield. It was the 0 plan B. Everybody was on the pitch from the get-go. Savio, Doku, De Bruyne, Bernardo,
shouldn't that be a case of let's overwhelm them from the start?
So what if it doesn't work? Do you understand? So it's
Palace
more
won
of, you get, it's a final, it's 90 minutes, okay, maybe with additional extra time or something, you give yourself the best chance, you try and stabilize the game, you go for it. And if there's anybody that shouldn't have been doing this, it's Pep, because 2021 final, I started with that similar midfield, playing Gundogan, De Bruyne, and was it Bernardo? I can't remember.
Did you Champions League final?
Yeah, Champions League final. I started with that DM. In 20,
It
was Gundogan. It was Gundogan that was the DM that day. So if you had done that then and you lost 1-0, I don't know why you're doing it again. But anyway, it's a good one for Palace. First trophy ever. This is no drought. This is barren land. Do you understand? So
Glasner automatically turns to a hero.
It's not just Glasner. Everybody in that squad, down to even Kamada, Nketiah, everybody in that squad.
This is the Sports Lounge.
Welcome to the home of the Sports Lounge.
Welcome to our YouTube channel. Welcome to our YouTube channel.
Don't forget to like, leave a comment, and subscribe.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. So click on the subscribe button and let's stay updated with all the happenings, all the interesting conversations in the world of sports. So, and it's one of the it's one of the pointers that say that, you know, everybody's a coach. Personally, they use mouth to drive motor, they get accidents. You know, the way we always say 3 at the back is bad, 3 at the back is bad. Palace play 3 at the back. The Premier League squad to do that over the last 2-3 years. There are a couple of teams in Europe that, in fact, I was being mischievous in one of my group chats and I asked that if Amorim's let go and United managed to sign Inzaghi, are you going to say he should change to a back 4? And everybody's like, So system, structure, one thing, flexibility, adaptability is another thing. A lot of teams, not just Premier League, a lot of teams build up with a back 3. On paper, not on paper. By the time they're starting out from the back, you see there's a way they open up and they adjust their body. So I don't think the system, it's the profiles, that's what's missing, but story for another day. So for Palace and City, it's a good one for teams. I mean, we all know that Pep is going to the market to go and spend this summer. It's finished.
How much more can they spend this summer? They just came off a January of 200 million.
When your foundation is good, when your foundation is deep, there's no extent to which you cannot reach your towers.
When is
PSR coming? It's never going to happen. City did all their dirty work before PSR came in. They've injected too much funds. It cannot be eroded. Do you understand? It's
what's the worst that can happen?
There's nothing that can happen.
The 115 charges.
So, bro, if they give them fines, If they give them fines,
They'll pay it easy. But let's go over to the other champion that we named Napoli. Yet another, well, three at the back coach, but I think he switched. He switched to a back four at some points in the season. Big ups to Antonio Conte and Napoli. Just before the show started, there's this running joke that Conte goes to a team that's not in Europe, doesn't have much midweek competition, and then rallies them up to win the league. What are your thoughts on that, and how Napoli stormed their way to the league title despite losing two star players in Victor Osimhen in summer and then Kvaratskhelia in the January transfer window?
Okay, so going to Conte's one game a week thing, I mean, first of all, obviously, the teams that Conte has come into, I would say traditionally big teams. So it's not like it's a small team he has picked. And knowing Conte is a very, 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 very intense coach. Very intense coach. So when you match the intensity that he comes with his tactical nose, because that's another strength that he has, and you match it with the fact that you only have one game a week. Your focus throughout that week is going to the next game. There is no European game. There is nothing is coming out of nowhere. It's the next game. It's always the next game. It's always the next game. And the next game is 7 days away. You're planning, your intensity is going focused on that game. It's no surprise really. He did it with Juventus, he did it with Chelsea, and he did it with Napoli. And the thing with the Napoli thing is that Napoli brought in two players with points to prove. And I mean, I'm going to go back to Manchester United again. First is Scott McTominay. Scott McTominay definitely had a point to prove going to Italy because of how his time ended in Manchester United, especially with the fans and the club. Going there, again with a point to prove, matching the intensity that Conte always brought with the one game a week. With the idea we know about Italian football, and then with the physicality, with the timing, we know what Scott McTominay was in England. The whole crashing the box thing, he usually got his goals.
Yeah.
And he was when going back to Italy, when he went back to Italy, knowing how the Italian game was, how it's not as physically intense as it is in England, he was always going to get.
They don't know anything about Scott.
They've not seen that. He was always going to get. He was always going to get. He's strong. He can run.
He was always going to get his goals as usual. But did you see him going all the way to winning the MVP?
Obviously not. It's someone who's coming to the league for the first time. It's always a surprise, especially if that person is not a superstar.
Yeah.
But with that point to prove, with the goals that he brought in, was basically scoring every week since March. Almost every week, every time it was called McTominay. And the goal he scored yesterday again, it was a fabulous finish. There's a running joke I had that whoever scouted McTominay as a midfielder, did a very...
Call his name. Everybody knows the person.
Wait, who did?
It was playing up front.
It was playing up front?
Yeah, it was playing up front. Somebody said he's 6'3".
A certain coach.
A certain coach, bro.
You can call his name now.
I remember that.
The finishes that he has been producing, he produced this
Did you see his free kick 2 weeks back?
Yeah.
Who would have thought a midfielder...
That was against Parma, yeah? Yeah. It was against Parma. It was against Suzuki.
Against Suzuki.
Yeah, tipped it to the crossbar or something like that. Yeah.
Where was that at Manchester United?
So, I think...
Do you think it's a result of we have lots of time? There's no midweek game.
That's not what it is.
On the training ground to...
That's not what it is. I feel like people have just refused to match reality and their expectations. That's what it is. Whenever you watch a player, if you watch a player with clear mind today, you can tell that this person is good at this and this person is bad at this. Simple and straight. I know for a fact that in a 5-meter dash, if I drop Bukayo Saka against somebody and I give Saka 5 meters, Saka is gone. Now, if it's over 20, 25 meters, I know they'll catch up with him. But it's the opposite is the case with Martinelli. Now, if somebody's catching up with Saka, Saka cannot play ball because he's doing... do you understand? When Tomine was at United, he was basically playing in front of the defense. He has to receive the ball in front of the defense. That's not his strength. It's not... He's managing it, right? But he's not exactly good at it. And the person that started that was Ole, and Ole wanted to do... As a pivot, right? Ole wanted to create a scenario whereby he was using quantity to make up for quality, in terms that instead of getting a 6 that can do this and all, I'll just double it and play McTominay and Fred. So the intensity, the matchup, we can win second balls, we can do all of that. I will trust the forward players to get the job done. Do you understand? So the idea of a 6, which we watch everywhere in Europe in the big teams, is what people have of McTominay, or people used to have of McTominay, and it's simply not that. Sometimes last season, McTominay rescued a number of points for United, box crashing, all of that. In fact, even when he was playing beside Fred, you see the few times that he can get to go up front, good finishes here and there and all of that. So once you know a player, do you understand? I just feel like that's what you should. It's the same way with, what's the other guy's name? Gabriel Jesus. You know all of the chaos and everything he's going to bring for you in the opponent's box. You know his numbers are not going to be the best. Joshua Zexi, you say, oh, scored 30 goals. Bro, where have you seen where have you seen him score 30 goals before? You just know what a player is all about, and you just build your team, or you build rules for those. Gilmore, Anguissa, Lobotka, all those guys behind McTominay. McTominay, I'm sure if you check their heat maps or their passing networks and all of that, it's probably in front of the striker, because it's, don't worry, build up. Once we get like settled possession in the opponent's half, he's gone. Second striker, straight up. Do you understand? It's ghosting runs. You cannot see him. You cannot do anything about it. Same mode as the other Thomas Muller back in the day. Once Bayern do that, Ribéry, Robben, their midfield is set. Guys going up front to go and join Lewandowski, Gomez, whoever it is. So the coach just primed that system and says, okay, these are the players I have. I will get the best of them. Simple and straight.
Yeah, talking about coach and continuity, we're hearing talks about Conte in typical fashion falling out with club hierarchy once again. Do you think this is it for Conte at Napoli, or can he repeat the magic?
If I was Conte, I'll stay. And I'll stay because of only one reason. Now, this new Champions League format is the group stage. It's 8 games against anybody, really. Mm-hmm. 2 from Pot A, 2 from Pot B, 2 from Pot C, and 2 from Point D. I feel like Napoli can take their chances against whoever is in Pot C and D. That's if they win the 4 games, that's 12 points. They definitely will not lose the other 4. You will see one to win. If you get 15 points, you get out of that group stage.
How about you? What do you think?
I mean,
should he leave?
But knowing his history,
that's
the problem. The problem is his history. I mean, the second season will come with, even though it's a league phase, it's going to come with the chaos of you have your league match on the weekend.
If you get out of the group stage, I don't think anybody will hold you responsible for
what happened in the league, even if they're 10th.
No, not in the league.
That's the problem.
No. That's not what I mean. I feel like in the league they'll be able to. The competition in Italy is not bad per se. Do you understand? It has to be a terrible job for you to drop maybe like 6, 7, especially since you know that Premier League teams are coming to come and pluck players from there again. That's the league that has money. A lot of teams will lose some of their players. So it's more of, okay, yes, he probably will not win the league next season. I think Inter squad is too strong. Those ones have set themselves right for the year. Do you understand? But if he finishes maybe second or maybe even third and he gets quarterfinals in Champions League or something, I don't think that's a bad season for Napoli.
Yeah, but the problem, like he said, is, I mean, the fallout has already started, and you know this guy. Yeah. That's the problem.
Well, to be fair,
man, you should go and get him. Yeah. No Europe next season. Won't give me a week.
Before we get him,
I prefer not.
We'll look at that. We'll look at that in the second half of this show. Stay with us. We'll be right back. We're going on a break. Welcome back. It's still the Sports Lounge. I still have my co-pilots with me. Let's get back on this return flight. Just before we went on our short break, Arabella was telling us that he thinks Manchester United should go for Antonio Conte in summer. I mean, the conditions are prime for him.
Eddie.
The conditions may be, but the players...
That was not a suggestion from me. It was a joke. It's a joke I have as far as
Let's be serious, man. This team that has managed to resurrect, there are big teams. There are teams that were doing very well. Napoli won the league
United
2 years ago.
Is a big team.
Napoli won the league 2 years ago. Chelsea won the league, I think, 2 years before.
2 years before he got him.
We won the FA Cup 2 years ago.
United won the league last in 2013. The last 3 seasons have been 17th or 16th, 8th, 3, 6.
Okay, let's start with this. Let's start with Manchester United as we are going into this transfer window roundup. what do you think United can do? We know they have their financial issues. They need to raise money. We know they have to rebuild because this is rock bottom. They're losing a number of players a little too late, but their contracts running out. Where do you think United can start from? Fedoton, I'll put this to you as a United fan. Ibola will come up with lots of bad ideas to sing. So, what do you think United should do to, say come sixth next season?
First things first, everybody go on break, go home, go and stay with your family, enjoy yourself, and all of that. When that is out, the manager, the people in charge, the ambassador for all those people, those plenty people that we just hear their names and we don't see much of what they do. Sit down, they have a roundtable discussion. What are our targets for next season? What are we trying to achieve next season? Okay, if you say you're 16th and you want to finish top half, well and good.
They said top 6.
No, I'm saying in their meeting, if you say they want to finish top half, that's their problem. Say they want to finish top 6, that's their problem. Say they want to finish top 4, that's their problem. Now, because of the financial hold to drawbacks, I personally think that there are many ways around that. But again, I will not be talking about how to maneuver the system here. But I just feel like the first thing that they have to do is to trust in whatever they're doing. It might be rubbish, it might be whatever, but you give it. If you don't try, you won't know if you're going to succeed or fail. So you try and say, okay, now that there's a full preseason, there's a full transfer window, there is no whatever, right? There are points in your teams. Okay, so this is one. How is your back three? 1, 2, 3. What type of profiles do I need for this? Now, even if you can say a left centre back, you cannot get, say, a Bastoni. You drop down. You say maybe a Van der Ven. You drop down. You go to maybe a Kivior. You drop down. Do you understand? Not exactly the quality of the player, but the profile of the player, so everybody can see that. Oh, okay, this is what you're trying to do with this person. Once you buy a better player, it elevates the system. I, for one, don't think Dogo has been a bad signing for a couple of reasons. I think he has shown what a left wing back can do in that system. He has plenty flaws. It needs a lot of refining. But you watch him play and you think, if there was a better player in that position, this system can look better. Do you understand? So it's more of identifying your profiles and fitting them properly. We spoke about how McTominay has been able to do wonders at Napoli just because he has been profiled properly. So just don't force people to do what they're not good at. You want to start.
If you were the decision maker in
the first position I'll sign is I want someone that can dictate the tempo of the game. First, number one, a midfielder that can say, guys, faster, or guys, hold back a bit. That's number one. Number two, I'll buy someone that has goals in him. It doesn't have to be Osimhen or Gyökeres. So once you buy those type of players, you've basically told you that you want to win the league or you want to go to Champions League. If you want to, your transfers, your signings have to reflect where you are as a club and your intentions. If they say that's what they want to do next season, then all well and good, they can get those players. But if you know deep down that you're probably going to be realistically maybe a top 6 or 7 scrap again next season, your signings should reflect that, because at the end of the day, you're going to. I can't imagine, say someone like Osimhen trying to win African Footballer of the Year and his team is like 7th or 8th or something like that. You know what that would do for him? So that's what they should do, in my opinion. You go to your drawing board. Don't worry, it's not a problem. You finish 6th. It can't be worse than this. This is what you want to do, and you make active steps towards that. That's the most important signing for United. Someone that can actually. When last have you seen United in possession for maybe like 20 minutes? Not chaotic. I don't mean 20 as in full domination. I mean control. That when you even lose the ball, you're still in. Do you understand?
I think the last person we had in that role was Carrick.
The last person United had that type of was Louis van Gaal. That's the last time that United looked settled, and it was still blunt.
No, I mean Carrick as a player.
Like well, yeah, you have
proper control.
But I think maybe Matic and Herrera and Pogba, they managed to do a decent job back then and all of that. But to me, the midfield is just Ugarte, Casemiro, Bruno, Mount.
Ball winners.
They all have
Meno is not that kind of player.
So here's the thing with Meno. I think if I was to profile Meno properly, I'll say in a 4-3-3, 1 pivot, 2 CMs, one of the 2 CMs. It's not comfortable.
It's a pivot.
It's not sharp and quick enough in the other box as well. It's decent in the other box. I mean, it's better than the defensive. Do you understand? So I feel like if you're going to play a 3-man midfield, yes, there is a lot of space for him there.
But for someone that covers that much ground, do you not think he?
Oh, minor. He
typically-
doesn't cover ground.
You just preferred him as a
No,
box to box.
I did not say box to box. I said left center
Somewhere
midfield.
in
Yeah, it's not
in
a
between.
Have you seen him shuffle? Let's be serious now. Again, watch players, you know their strengths. It's just like saying, I want a striker to hold up play, and I say, I'll bring in Oilon. Come on. Help your team, help yourself.
Anyway, the best thing about what he said is that, I mean, knowing Manchester United's history over the past.
Of course, they're going to go and buy.
They're going to It will happen.
Let's talk about other things. Let's talk about other things that will happen. What is going to Arsenal now? What do you think is that signing that could just tip? I mean, they've gone from phases 1, we're about to start phase 7 of the process. What do you think is that signing that finally tips them to winning the trophy?
Okay, so I mean, this whole idea of phase 7, it's probably banter. It's nothing like phase 7. I mean, except you're going year on year, and years no many phases. Honestly, for the past 3 seasons, Arsenal already had squads to win the Premier League. But unfortunately, I mean, we did not. Arsenal did not win the Premier League, and the football landscape changes very quickly. You know, football works in cycles. I mean, you have the core of your squad. Yeah. The core of the squad for us now 3 years ago, obviously, we had Saliba, Gabriel. They were still young, so they're still good. It was White and Zinchenko. White and Zinchenko almost doesn't exist anymore. The midfield was Xhaka and Partey. Xhaka is off. Partey is near off as well, even though Arteta says he wants to keep him. The front 4, obviously, 3 out of the front 4 are still there. Odegaard, Saka, and Martinelli are still there. Martinelli already seems like is nearing the end as a first-team starter for us now. And obviously, we had the issue as the 9. So it almost feels like the cycle of that team, even though we have 4 or 5 players that are still there, the cycle of that team is going to an end. So what I believe Arsenal is already doing is, first with the Zubimendi signing that's already all but confirmed, we're almost starting another cycle. So for us this season, Zubimendi is already all but confirmed. We know the goalkeeper situation and the defense situation is already set. So it's going forward, really. The problem with Arsenal this season was goals. Honestly, it started this season before, but we were able to cover that up. Goals. First, Odegaard can't be the only attacking midfielder, the person that is finding spaces in, but it can't work that way. We need another person. Another person needs to be there. And obviously, everybody knows me. Everybody knows that this has been my agenda for a while. Kai Havertz is not... we could have won the league with Kai Havertz at the starting night 2 years ago. It could have happened. It did not happen. But football has gone past. Like I said, football changes very quickly. Liverpool have won the league and are already... they're already pulling off. They've already signed Frimpong to replace Trent. We heard about Florian Wirtz yesterday.
Yeah, all but confirmed.
I'm hoping they don't sign a 9 because that's the near key position for them. Because I don't think Salah already had his contract. He may not score enough goals. As much goals as this season. Nunez is leaving. So I'm hoping.
Even despite the 9, talking about people that have the numbers in them, Florian Wirtz seems to be one of those people that can get in and around the numbers, even if Salah doesn't contribute with his typical volume.
Okay, so where I'm going with Liverpool is that what I'm trying to say is that Arsenal's competition is already improving. So we can't rely on Havertz as the main.
Who would be the ideal?
There are 3 of them. The Gyökeres is already. Everybody says it's Gyökeres. There's Sesko and then there's Osimhen. It's one of those 3. I do not know who.
I thought Isak was part of this.
Newcastle are going to finish in the Champions League this season, so it's almost off. No, I will be very surprised if someone buys him. Very, very surprised.
Well, I like that you said.
You think Newcastle can do enough to keep him?
They had to sell a couple of players last season. Eletanda saying to make up for money. So I don't know what position they are financially, but I like that you said creative responsibility. Everybody keeps on hammering up how Arsenal need goals and all of that. Arsenal don't have creators.
You don't have guys.
They don't have creators. They have creators. Odegaard is a decent creator. I don't think to a large extent Saka is even a more dangerous creator than Odegaard. But you need somebody that's out of nothing. It might not necessarily be a number 10. If you have maybe the type of fullbacks Liverpool used to play with, something like that. The back four is basically blunt when you see going forward. Rice is not exactly a creator. So it makes them like very, very, very predictable. Do you understand to a large extent? Quality covers most of that, knowing fully well that the things that they can do well, they'll do it to you, and you cannot do anything about that. But if Arsenal had a few more creators, especially in those positions that look
positions,
blunt
exactly.
now. Maybe a 6 that can play that pass all the way over the top, or maybe a right back that when he's in the final third is a problem. Yeah. But the striker is important too. The striker is important too.
Yeah, we've sort of touched base on the traditional big teams in England, but where do you think Chelsea can improve? They're just about struggling to stamp themselves in Champions League places for next season. Where do you think they can improve in this summer?
So the first thing Chelsea should do, if Chelsea make the Champions League first, it's harsh, it's wicked. I don't like Chelsea. Well, I will say the best thing they could do. If Chelsea gets into the Champions League, Chelsea need to buy 2 players, in my opinion. One, a centre back, not just any centre back, a world-class centre back that's going to push that team from the back. Number 2, I'm torn between 2 positions, but I will go for the more important one. That's up top. The problems
Is
are
the second
up
position
top.
the goalkeeper?
Yes.
The goalkeeper was.
Yeah, so they can manage that position mostly because they have Petkovic coming back from Strasbourg. He had a very good season. He had a very good season last season in Premier League. He had a very good season this season in Strasbourg. So maybe he can bounce those guys. I don't want to call them bad names. Maybe he can bounce those guys. But if they have a couple of leaders in the squad, don't get me wrong. Young leaders, people like Caicedo, people like Enzo, those guys know how to manage their own, do you understand? But if you have these strikers that you called for Arsenal, you have one of them leading line for Chelsea, and you have a proper centre back for Chelsea. That's a different team entirely.
Okay, just before we leave, I deliberately saved this for last to counter what you came in. You came in saying your enemies had failed as well. You do realize your club is about to
What do you
fail
mean
once again.
Your Honor, prejudice.
They have a match coming up. Talking about Arsenal women, the Champions League final. Once again, Arsenal are going to be almost winners. Do you agree with that? Or do you
So
think
getting
they can create magic?
getting there
It's
is
an
already a win. On most serious note, getting there, especially with the season we've had, how we started,
Yeah, they knocked out
that we
Lyon.
got to the final of the Champions
They
League.
knocked out Lyon.
I mean, it's a win. Honestly, it's a win. I'm praying. I've started fasting because that Barcelona team is the best. It's the best. It's the best team I've seen in recent while, and it will
You have to give
take.
it up for Barcelona. Brilliant institution, top to bottom, male and female.
And like I said, Arsenal women have been European champions before, so it's not even new. So if we lose, we lose. We'll go again next year.
Actually, if Arsenal women actually win this match, I actually will not be surprised.
No, I will.
So when I started taking them serious, you remember the Arsenal played Madrid right after Madrid women beat Barcelona women.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, oh, fluke and all of that. And the Madrid women, it was around the same period where they played the Madrid men in Champions League and all of that. So they managed to run. When they played Lyon was when I sat, like, oh, okay, something is cooking. Then against Lyon, I'm like, oh, wait, this is actually serious. Because they drew in London.
Yeah,
I think it was
went
2-2
to
in
Lyon.
London. Yeah, they went to Lyon and they won 4-1 there. So, I mean, when you get to a final, you have, if anything, Bologna, Milan. Palace
Exactly.
City.
This season has been full of fire. I mean,
I
under
didn't
those
want
winning
to say Fulham
finals.
United.
Yeah. So
So yeah, anyway.
But there are no bird teams this time around. So let's see how this final goes. There you have it from us at the Sports Lounge. It's been a wonderful ride with my wonderful co-pilots. Stay tuned. Stay with us. We'll be back next week to talk about sports once again.